Now look, I warned you, my signals might start turning back to bearish. My signals might start turning back to bearish this week. They are. Not all of them, but some of them are starting to turn back to bearish this week. I've talked about this warning sign. My last update, I told you by Friday we might start seeing more and more signals turn bearish. We're seeing signals turn bearish, but the Dow up 35 points, up 0.08%, pretty much flat. S&P below 6,000 still, down 13 points to 59.67, down just nearly 0.25%. The NASDAQ down just over 0.5%. The Russell down 0.18%. The VIX was down nearly 7%. Again, we're watching to see not to get the bigger catalyst, the bigger pullback right now, or do we buy a little bit more time, bounce, and then go? I'm starting to see some signals turn right now. That very well may be the case. By Friday in my last two videos, I talked about that at great length and detail on Tuesday and Wednesday. I warned you, again, the signals could flip, and some of them now are flipping this week. Others are not there because we're going sideways, just like Bitcoin was doing. The White House press secretary said that the president is going to make a decision in the next 2 weeks to join the strikes. They're moving ships. They're moving equipment. They're preparing for this. And again, it very well, but maybe by the time you're watching this video, maybe it's already happened. It could happen after the close of the market, stock market on Friday. It's closed a little bit ago. The weekend, or maybe at some point next week. Maybe they wait until the following weekend. Certainly possible. They're going to wait that long, though. You know, there's of diplomacy, hopes that there could be, a deal. Said previously, had their chance. They should have took the deal. He posted on social media, unconditional surrender. I think that this is a ploy to take the Iranians off their guard, hopes that they have a lifeline, and I don't think it's going to happen. I think the chances are slim to none that there's some kind of deal reached or talks that happen. I don't think it's going to happen. This is a tactic by the U.S. military and the Trump administration to lull the Iranians into a false sense of security that they're going to have this delay. I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to go. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they don't do it this weekend. Maybe they do it next week or next weekend, 1 week from now. It's possible. I mean, it takes time to get things in place. But if they already have things in place and they already announced the evacuation days ago, said to evacuate Tehran, Israel said to evacuate. So again, be ready to rock and roll now. Don't think they're delaying for diplomacy. I think they're delaying to prepare and also to catch the Iranians off guard and confuse them. Again, even on social media, now you got a bunch of people, Trump's going to check it out, us taco thing that's all over social media. These people don't understand Trump. Now, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not in either political party, but I understand Trump. I think this whole thing is a page out of The Art of the Deal. It's a ploy, a tactic to conceal what is about to happen. Now, my guess is it's going to happen sooner or later. I could be wrong. And maybe they wait, and then it looks like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to. But you got a lot of people on social media say, Trump's not going to do it. Well, he did it in his first term. I doubt he's not going to do it here. He doesn't want to be the president that allows Iran to get a nuclear weapon. So I think they're going to go forward with it. I think it's probably going to be this weekend. Very well could be today by the time you're hearing this video. It could be delayed a little bit if they need to prepare further. It's going to happen, and I think there's a very good shot it's going to happen this weekend and maybe on Friday or Saturday here over the weekend. At least it's certainly possible. You got people underestimating Trump. He's not going to do it. Back in his first term, he authorized to use the force against Baghdadi. And take out ISIS military leaders. Didn't hesitate. He did it. He took out the Iranian leader. And if I get his name wrong, I'm sorry. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Soleimani. For that, people back then, when that happened, that was an Iranian leader authorized to use force to take him out. The people tell everybody, this is going to drag us into war. It didn't, did it? The thing people are saying right now. I think he's going to do it. He's shown in his first term he's not afraid to use force. He's that doesn't like these forever wars. He doesn't like to get involved in wars. This is not going to be a war. It's not going to start a war. They're going to go in and strike, and it's going to be over. So much weaker than everybody thinks. If this ever started, Iran's going to just come in there and wipe Israel out, and it's going to be a big regional war. And again, the complete opposite to what the media told us was going to happen is happening. Israel has total control of their skies. They can strike any target they want. They're going to take out Bordeaux and these other major nuclear sites, those like 300 feet underground. If the Trump administration did it, the bunker-busting bombs, they would do it. It'd just be one. Israel could do it. Take them a little bit longer to get it done. Their bunker busters are not as good as the U.S. The U.S. is. By the time you're watching this, maybe it's already started. This could start. If it's delayed, maybe we buy a little bit more time. We'll be watching. Just telling you there's risks right now. This is the catalyst for the pullback for the market, for Bitcoin. See my latest Bitcoin video. Bitcoin's got all kinds of sell signals. Is the market now going to follow Bitcoin getting the sell signals? Well, we're getting some. Again, today, as I'm making the video, it might be the day. Later today, as the stock market is now closed over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, or possibly next weekend or the following weekend. This 2-week delay thing, I think it's just a ploy by the Trump administration, prepare and get things ready. Iran already had its chance to negotiate a peaceful deal, and they didn't take it. They're not serious about it. I think that Israel is going to eliminate the Ayatollah. They're going to eliminate the nuclear program, and I don't think they're going to let the supreme leader remain in power. So a lot of things, and again, Iran is running. They're out of missiles, and Israel's also the launchers. Israel's also destroying launchers. The missiles are worthless if you can't launch them, and so the launchers are being destroyed. The strikes by Iran are becoming weaker and weaker each day. Did strike the hospital, and now they've hit this. What is it? A mosque? I think they hit today. There in Israel, a Muslim mosque. I think was they struck that, shooting into civilian population areas. I don't think that Israel's going to let the supreme leader of Iran continue to stay in power. So just some takes on things, but this very well could start this week. This very well could be the catalyst that rattles the market and gives us the pullback for wave 2. Thinking that the United States is not going to get involved in all this, that Trump's going to chicken out or whatever, not do this. You're seriously underestimating Trump. I think he's gonna do it. He doesn't want to be the president that allowed Iran to get a nuclear weapon. Trump is saying that Israel doesn't have the capacity to destroy Iran's underground nuclear site on its own. And it's looking like he's going to get involved. Now, Israel does have the ability. If they do have the ability to do it, they'd have to take different steps to do it. It would take them a to do it. If the United States did it, it would just be much easier, much quicker to do with the bunker-busting bombs. Has them, they're just not as powerful as the U.S. Have to do other things. But again, Trump is correct with reference to the bunker-busting bombs. They could do other things, but again, Israel is going to likely. Well, people go, well, Trump's not going to take out the Ayatollah. Yeah, but what makes you think Israel's not going to do it? The Iranian regime has been funding the proxies that have been causing them problems for decades. I don't think that they're going to squander the opportunity for a regime change. So I think it's going to happen. And again, I think you're going to see Iran fall here in the next week or two. I think it's going to happen. The people will rise up, or there'll be some kind of change that happens. Very likely. Again, this looks like the issue that's probably going to rattle the stock market and Bitcoin over the next couple of weeks. It's just looking that way. Possibility that as quickly the market shrugs it off and another catalyst comes along. This very well has the potential to be the catalyst that rattles the market to give us a pullback for wave 2. Yeah. On Friday, we got a reversal of conditions with the S&P 500, with the NASDAQ. So again, the risk is that we get the bigger pullback right now. It's possible this is a smaller wave 4 in an ending diagonal in this final fifth right here. Certainly still possible if we could turn back up. But my signals are turning bearish. I was watching this closely through the session. Again, I've told you that I thought there was a good chance that we can make a new high or even try to go towards the trend line. But I told you if my signals turn bearish, I would turn right back to bearish. Watching this through the session very closely because I was watching to see if it would turn bearish. And again, the bullish scenario is that we end up turning back up. You know, we have this strike. Say it happens sooner rather than later. Say it happens as I'm making the video right now, you know, in a few hours from now. You know, the stock market's closed, you know, and say later on Friday or over the weekend, see the U.S. get involved in the Israel-Iran conflict. That ends up rattling markets early on next week. We could see this to begin to play out. The other possibility, as I keep saying, is that, you know, there ends up being a relief rally over it, which is certainly still possible. The U.S. goes in, strikes, and they accomplish their mission, and it's over. You know, the people telling us that this is going to be a long-term war are oblivious to what's going on. It's not going to be. It's going to last a few days to a few weeks. I was expecting this to last for maybe another 2 weeks. I'm going to deal with the targets, and again, narrative on the internet, oh, we're going to have this regional war. No, we're not. Oh, we're going to have World War III. No, we're not. It's going to be a forever war. The forever war has been since 1979. Over the last few decades, all the stuff that Iran has been doing to Americans and to Israelis and everybody else, the forever war, and that's going to be coming to a conclusion here, and maybe by this weekend, possibly. Oh, the future, I don't know. They're still getting things ready and moving things around, preparing for all of this. So maybe it is delayed a little bit. We'll see what happens. It does take, these things do take time, but gave the order to evacuate earlier in the week. So there's been several days for them to get this all ready and for people to have time to evacuate, for civilians to get out of the way. But just letting you know, we got sell signals. Now, not all my signals are bearish yet. They could be turning that way, but we did get it with a bearish reversal of conditions here. Had this divergence. I told you it may not be done yet. It could be wrong, and we could get the lower high. And now that we're getting this signal, I could be wrong on that. This very, very closely. We do have the divergence. I told you it may not be done yet. We're getting this signal that starts increasing the odds that, hey, rather than coming up to this trend line right here, maybe we have this downward sloping trend line and we start dropping down and getting the right shoulder with a lower high. Certainly possible. Now, again, I am now bearish. I'm playing this signal right here. I was watching it closely through the session. Bitcoin signals are already bearish. They've been mixed because Bitcoin's goes sideways. S&P went higher, so did NASDAQ. Bitcoin got a lower high. Are we going to follow Bitcoin now back down? We follow Bitcoin back up. Again, you're about to get the 50, crossing above the 200. Again, we very well could pull back to just under those levels. Have a downward sloping neckline for the right shoulder. That the right left shoulder, the head formation could now be done, and the right shoulder. So again, I am playing this signal. If my signal started turning back to bearish, I would turn back to bearish. Could be this move is not done yet. My signals could flip back to bullish. Over here, they flip bearish. It was just a sideways move. Over here, they turned bearish, but then we went just a little bit higher. You could say something like that, but I'm just telling you now, I'm taking this signal as a warning. I was watching this throughout the session and closed my long positions and went short, watching to see if it would close that way. Ended up closing that way, but through the session we had already gotten the signal earlier in the session. So I'm playing this signal right here just to let you know. Called the bottom over here, predicted the rally over here. Told you I thought we'd come up and make a new high. Told you I could be completely wrong about that if we get the lower high. Is this conflict in the Middle East, is this going to be the catalyst that gives us the pullback? It's looking like that could be the case. Or the market has shrugged it off, but now we're getting this signal here on Friday. So again, I'm taking that as a warning, and I told you the signals in my Wednesday update could very well turn bearish by Friday. That has been the case here. Not all, listen to me carefully, not all my signals are bearish. Some are still bullish. Good majority of them are still bullish, but here you got a bearish reversal of conditions following Bitcoin. Momentum line has already turned bearish. I'm taking heed to that warning. So it may be just an ABC type of a move here, and we end up, getting a relief rally if the United States does end up getting involved sooner rather than later, and the conflict ends quickly. Then maybe we still try to rally to a new high, and we see my signals flip back to bullish. And if that is the case, then I'll turn short-term bullish if they do turn back to bullish. But right now, I think that this could be opening the door. I think there's risk here, and that's why I've taken the steps and why I warned you in my previous video on Wednesday that we might see these signals turn bearish come Friday. That has happened. So that's how I'm playing it. Not a recommendation to buy or sell anything. I'm just telling you, I'm taking this as a warning to close my long positions and go short. The resistance zone directly overhead. If we flip the signals back to bullish, then we can still try to go to this level. I'm taking this as a warning sign. Now short-term bearish on the S&P 500, thinking I'm probably wrong about reaching a new high right now, and that we'll probably get the pullback. I could be jumping to conclusions on the signal because, like I said, not all my signals are bearish, but I think that, again, there could be some volatility surrounding tensions in the Middle East if the United States gets involved. That happen. And again, there may be a relief rally, but this has the possibility of giving us a sell-off for the next few weeks, and I'm considering that possibility. So again, I'm playing this signal. I'm taking heed to this signal. I warned you this signal might happen by Friday's close, and it has. And we talked about that in great length and detail earlier in the week, and on my Wednesday video, the market was closed for the federal holiday on Thursday. Same thing. Again, I was watching NASDAQ very closely through the session, warned you, same thing here, that we could see the signal flip. It might just be an ABC type correction, and we still might get one more push higher, but and see the awesome oscillator bars turn back to green very quickly. Certainly possible. Not to get this golden cross of the 50 above the 200. Oftentimes that marks tops. We still got a shot at it. We're closer to the trend line than the S&P 500. We were just under the February high. Taking this as a warning, as I told you. It might be, maybe we get something like this right here, where we turn bearish and then we turn right back to bullish. Could be, but I'm taking this signal at face value here and believing that, again, we might be starting the larger correction out. The awesome oscillator might go into the negative region. I told you the MACD and the awesome oscillator, they might turn up, but if we started seeing the reversal of conditions, then the risk is that that's it, and we're starting the bigger move down, and we end up dropping below the 50 and the 200 for the right shoulder with, again, a slanted neckline going downward rather than the one sloping up that I've talked about. And again, I told you I might change my mind if my signals start turning bearish. But again, let me be clear. We might get something like this if the rest of my signals don't turn bearish. If they all start confirming this, because I have a lot of them that haven't turned bearish yet. We're still kind of going sideways. Got mixed signals. Just like with Bitcoin, I have mixed signals, but now more and more of my signals on Bitcoin turning bearish. Already locked in my gain on Bitcoin and went short on Bitcoin. Signals a few days warned of that. We could be seeing that now with the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. So same thing here. I was watching this very closely through the session, told you and warned you it could happen in my last update. More signals might turn bearish. Haven't. We've seen a few, but got a lot of signals that are still bullish because we're going sideways at the moment. But this could start a bigger sell-off with the divergence that's in play. The divergence may not be done yet. This is now increasing the odds that maybe we're starting a bigger pullback right now. So I'm taking heed to that warning. Same thing here. Close my NASDAQ 100 position. I've taken a short position. If the signals flip right back to bullish, we can still reach this level, and they may. They did over here, okay? What happened over here? We turned bearish, went to a new high, and then we got the turn, and this signal gave us this. Look at right here. We saw the signal turn bearish, return back to bullish. Could this signal give us something bigger, a right shoulder? I think that's certainly possible. I've talked about that possibility. I told you I thought we'd go make a new high first. I could be completely wrong, and if these signals started turning, then the odds are starting to increase. That's all she wrote. So I'm protecting myself, and again, if I end up getting stopped out, then fine. You'll go up and get a higher high, and this divergence isn't done, then fine. This is telling me that there are risks here We have tensions now heating up in the Middle East with the United States possibly going to get involved before this day ends, possibly. Maybe they're waiting until the stock market closes. Maybe they wait a few days into next week. I think the United States is doing this delay to try to negotiate and have diplomacy. I think they've already exhausted that. Iran turned down the deal. Trump said he wants an unconditional surrender. I think this is a ploy to delay. Let me rephrase that. A ploy, a distraction as the United States gets ready to strike Iran. I don't think that they're interested anymore in negotiations. I could be wrong, but I'm telling you what I think. This is a ploy to get positions ready, to all the Iranians into a false sense of security. Oh, we're going to now negotiate, and oh, they want to negotiate. And I think the United States is going to go ahead and move forward. Now, maybe they don't do it this weekend. I think there's a good chance they will. So that's why I've taken the position of protecting myself. I talked about this earlier in the week. I talked about this on Wednesday. Start seeing this happen, you might see the markets get rattled. Signals turn back to bullish, well, then I'll reevaluate and reassess things. But I'm just telling you, I could be wrong about the new high, and we could get a lower high. I've said that over and over again, and I told you if the signal turns bearish, the odds start greatly increasing. We're going to get the larger pullback now. So again, I'm considering that we now have a lower high, and I have turned short-term bearish, even though I think we just get a pullback and then we go much higher. Are going to tell us, as they're already saying, here comes the next leg down of the bear market. And again, we're likely going to set up a higher low. Is this it? Maybe. Could be. So I talked to you on Wednesday so much about this possibility. Signals could start changing going into the weekend. I told you if the signal did change, then I'm going to turn back to bearish because the divergence very well could be done. It may not be. It may not be. It might just be a corrective wave forward. Maybe we rally. Maybe the market celebrates. If it happens over the weekend here, if it happens here on Friday, maybe the weekend, maybe it happens and it's quick and it's over and it ends and the market, breathes a sigh of relief. It's not going to last long. It's more than a few days. Again, this is likely going to be over in a couple of weeks, as I keep saying. And I've taken steps to protect myself. I talked about that earlier in the week. And we've already had warning signs, as I've talked about earlier in the week. Maybe the divergence is done. If the MACD, if we can pull back and then turn back up and still reach this level, then great. Then when you still get a larger divergence and then a larger pullback later, but it very well could be starting right here, right now on the NASDAQ and S&P 500. I have protected myself, again, in this throughout the session, and again, been bearish, and again, it was likely going to close that way. That's why I did what I did. I told you I was going to turn back to bearish if these signals turn back to bearish. Whatever my signals say, I'm going to do, but I need more signals to turn bearish if it's going to be bigger. We're still going sideways, so keep that in mind. And let me just say this, I could still be stopped out on the short if signals turn right back to bullish, and that's fine, but again, you got a warning sign right here. Maybe they don't do it over the weekend. Maybe it goes on into next week at some point or the following weekend. Who knows? Have warning signs. You like the chart, you like the indicators, let me know that by supporting the channel today. If you follow the link below, it'll take you to a secured site. You can donate any amount you want. I just ask that you do that rather than getting sponsors and try to sell you things. They contact me all the time. I turn the offers down. I don't want to sell you anything, but I do need to hear from you in order to make it work. If you could take a moment to help out, I would really, really appreciate that. Just follow the link below to take you to a secured site, and you can donate any amount you want or make it a recurring donation. I thank you for your consideration for that. I warned you earlier in the week we were getting bearish signals here. We got the momentum line turning bearish. Now we're seeing a reversal of conditions. This gray shaded area telling us something big, is a squeeze move is getting ready to happen, up or down. Getting a bearish reversal condition. So the risk is that we start seeing signals go bearish. The divergence, the question is it now done? And thought we'd reached the previous peak. Told you I could be completely wrong on that if my signals started all turning bearish. We saw this one turn bearish earlier in the week, the momentum line. Now we're seeing, and I told you it could be this. We see it turn bearish, and then we see it flip right back to bullish. Possible. Try to make a new high and reach that level. Kind of relief rally surrounding tensions in the Middle East or something. There's a delay, and the market goes, oh, it's not going to happen. get it and you start seeing a bigger sell-off, again, the squeeze move could be to the downside here, and we can get a bear raid here. Bears could push it down hard. Sell signals here. You got a topping signal here. You've got the momentum line bearish. Now we're getting a bearish reversal of conditions. So I'm taking heed to that warning. I have a lot of other signals that are still bullish because we're going sideways. It could turn bearish at some point next week. P daily here for the NASDAQ. We had the momentum lines turn bearish. We're still going sideways, but now we're seeing a bearish reversal of conditions, and gives that the divergence is done. It still may not be. Other signals don't turn bearish, but you still have this divergence. And again, we're now starting to get a shadow here, suggesting we could see a squeeze move beginning to start right now or very quickly. The question is, do we see the states get involved? And it looks like they are going to get involved no matter what, but is it this weekend? Is it today the market closes, or is it delayed into next week or the following weekend? No, but it's likely going to happen. And when it does, the markets are going to get rattled on it. We're starting to see some bearish signals, sell signals showing up here, topping signal here. So again, do we see more sell signals as we go into next week? We'll be watching. It's likely that the United States getting involved in the conflict is going to be the catalyst. End up getting a relief rally. If it's quick, it's over, and it rapidly. Get a relief rally. There could be another catalyst, but it does look like this is going to be the catalyst for the pullback, and the risk is now that we get a lower high. This is QQQ, the ETF for the NASDAQ 100. Okay, and the NASDAQ 100 has the same signal. We've got the 9 signal, the 9 count completing this week. The S&P completed the 8 bar. I told you we could see these signals mark a top, and we could begin. They could play out immediately. Other times, signals, you go a little higher. If the S&P completes count with being at the high of the count, we still may go a little higher. If we see this delayed, we still may reach the trend line I've been talking about if there is a delay. But we're starting to see some signals now turn to bearish, and if we see something happen over the weekend, we'll probably see more signals. If it happen immediately, you still could try to buy a little bit more time. But I'm just warning you, these signals are there, and I'm taking heed to these signals. I warned you about these signals, and I warned you we might see by Friday my signals begin to all turn back to bearish. We've seen some of them, and I'm taking heed to that warning. The 9 count here, we may start seeing that mark the reversal. You got it here on QQQ and NASDAQ 100. This is the weekly chart of QQQ. Daily chart, we already had that 13 count, went a little higher. I told you that could be the case. These counts very well could play out and give us a bigger sell-off to take out the 200 and the 50 as they're about to get a bullish golden cross. Pull back to those levels. Oftentimes golden crosses, you've either already topped or they marked tops, one or the other. So it's still possible to go higher, but I'm just warning you, hey, we're seeing signals now begin to turn bearish, and if we see the United States get involved, we might see more signals turn bearish. NVIDIA had the 9-9 signal, went a little bit higher, but NVIDIA is now completing the 9 count in the weekly time frame. Have a 9-9 reversal pattern here in the daily. Again, about to get a golden cross. Still possible we buy more time. The signals that are turning bearish may just be short-lived, but again, I'm taking steps to protect myself, and if we start seeing more signals turn bearish, then we're probably on the right track. We got the 9 count here on the NVIDIA weekly chart. Again, this 9 count, the 8 bar was the high of the count, we got this. This 9 count was the high of the count, we got this. Again, this count is probably going to give us a pullback or a higher low. My guess is we're going to go back and fill this gap right here and get a Fibonacci retracement. So again, I think that these counts, warning you about daily and the weekly time frame, NASDAQ and S&P are going to bring about the bigger pullback. Up, still getting a higher high, but I told you at the lower high, signals turn back to bearish, which they're starting to do on Friday and earlier this week with the momentum line turning bearish. NASDAQ's up to bar 8, or I'm sorry, NASDAQ completed bar 9, S&P is up to bar 8. May not complete the count if we close below the bar from 4 weeks ago. 1, 2, 3, 4. We close below this level next week. This count could go away and be voided out. But I'm telling you, we've got it completed on NASDAQ. Now, maybe if we get the relief rally, if we get a relief rally and maybe U.S. does go in short-lived, and the market breathes a sigh of relief. And again, Iran is quickly defeated, and it doesn't escalate into something bigger. Not going to. Those are telling us this is going to be a regional war. It's not going to be. Who's going to join Iran? They can have nuclear weapons. The countries surrounding them are quietly happy about this being done because they were worried about it too. Not going to join Iran. So there's going to be no regional war, no World War III, and all the rest of it. Let's get involved. That could rattle markets for the short term. That's all I'm saying. Could see it be the catalyst over the next couple of weeks. But if there's a sigh of relief, we still reach this level and see something else, catalyst, or go higher and then still see uncertainty surrounding the conflict give us the pullback. But we've got a bar 8 here on the S&P. We completed the bar 9 on the NASDAQ 100 and QQQ. Starting to look like we're going to get the sell-off. We'll see if the S&P can complete the bar 9 or not. So far, bar 7 is the high of the count. Bar 8 or 9 has to be the high account for it to be a perfected signal. Said it very well may end up getting canceled out if we close below the bar from 4 bars ago. If we start seeing the sell-off, then you may have the signal on NASDAQ, but not on S&P. Remember, the signal, the 9 count has already been canceled out on the Russell. It was already canceled out in the weekly time frame on the Dow. Canceled out on Bitcoin. Bitcoin only got up to bar 7 or 8 or something like that, and then it got canceled out because Bitcoin went sideways. That was the weekly chart that's got bar 8. Here we already had the 13.9. We went a little bit higher, as I talked about. Again, these signals could end up producing the reversal, dropping back below the 200, the black line, the 100, the pink line, and the 50 period, the green line, before the 50 crosses back above the 200 period. If we're starting the correction now, again, we could get a Fibonacci retracement, and you can have this slanted neckline, as I've talked about, that possibility. We're halting at this, with this peak here and this peak here. We've tried to get back above that level, and we're halting there with these lower highs now. This gives we get the right shoulder right here now, and you have the 13.9, which could give us a potential reversal. And if the 9 count doesn't complete in the weekly time frame. I've been warning you about these signals. We're starting to get the bearish reversal of conditions. So could it be starting right here now? Possibly. But again, we're still kind of going sideways here. Signals that have now turned bearish flip back to bullish. Without having more signals turn bearish, you still might reach the level. But like I said, I think that's possible now that we don't have that scenario play out, even though I told you I thought it would. I told you I'd change my mind. Started getting a bearish reversal of conditions, which we are now doing. The other possibility is, we have this maybe kind of an ending diagonal, and you've got a 4 going on here, and you get a 5, and then you get it like that, and still a question mark. Had the 13.9 show up, a double sequence count sell signal. This is what we had at the December high. We went a little bit higher, and then now we're selling off from there. This is what happened in December back over here, and then it gave us a sell-off. We rebounded. We actually went to a new high and then ended up getting a bigger sell-off. So do we have something like what we had over here with the double sequence count sell signal?